Welcome, everybody, back to Common Sense, the podcast. I'm excited to do this show for you guys today. We have my good friend Jay Bass here today. He's Vice President of Finance at Rise Sports Advisors, or Rise Family Office, as some are calling it now. He's worked with some of the world's top athletes, you guys, and he works with them to help them preserve wealth and transition into entrepreneurship. But don't let that fool you. Jay's insights into wealth management, investing, and relationship building are valuable for everyone, and that's what I'm excited to get him to talk about with you guys, because if he can transition into those things and build a relationship, I mean, I can't think of something harder as a sales guy or someone in that type of profession of, you know, getting elite athletes to trust you, let alone trust you with their money and where to invest it. So I think you guys are going to get plenty of lessons out of this from Jay today. And whether you're starting your career, building your first investment portfolio, or you guys are looking to create meaningful business relationship, I think we got a little something here for everybody. Dude, Jay, welcome to the show, man.
Man, thank you for having me. I'm
glad we can finally make it happen.
Hey, I'm honored. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm embarrassed a little bit. You sitting over here jacked, and I'm fat and happy now.
Oh, you're being too kind now.
No, I'm not. That's why I wore this long sleeve, cover up some of this chubbiness.
I mean, I've seen you in them like 3-piece suits on the NASDAQ and stuff, doing your thing. So I ain't mad at you. Well, for those that don't know, like, give everybody a little bit of background, where you grew up, you know, what family life was like, you know, growing up, and like where you're from and everything.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio. Born and raised. My family is
And you didn't go to Ohio State?
No. I actually, so funny thing is, when you're from the Midwest, you do one of three things. Like, either you work in GM, or you go to Ohio State and love Ohio State, or you run around in the streets. And my family were big blue collar workers, so they all worked at GM. So that actually took me to Texas, like my freshman year of high school. Okay. So didn't get to land in Ohio and go to college there, but that was the transition. That's how I got to Texas. So ended up going to Texas A&M, got my undergrad from there, and then went to Mississippi State for my MBA in finance. I started off playing basketball. That was my whole venture into college. That was my only option. My parents weren't, wealthy enough to be able to put me through college, so ended up making it to college, and I tore my ACL twice. I had a super general degree before that. I thought I was going to the NBA. I'm like, I'm going to the league, and ended up tearing my ACL, rehab for 8 months, tore it again, right when I came back. So at that point, I'm like, the hoop dreams are gone. Let me figure out what do I need to kind of change my major to in order to be, successful in society. And I picked finance because that was something I had never been talked about. I never even knew how to write a check until I got to college. So I ended up doing that. Had a little bit of eligibility, so I GA'd at Mississippi State and got my MBA there and jumped into the world of finance. So.
What made you decide to do that? Because it doesn't sound like that's something that was really taught in your home, in your family life. Like, that doesn't seem like something that was like a goal. Like, I'm gonna go be in finance. So what made you decide? Because I mean, that's kind of a daunting task too for somebody, like you said, never knew how to write a check prior to going to college. You're talking math and all this crazy stuff that most people are very intimidated by. Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, whenever I tore my ACL the second time, I went through a huge depression. Like, most athletes get that depression after they're done playing. Either they're out of the league or out of college, and because that's your whole identity. And anybody that associated my name, it was with basketball. That was my whole identity. So I went through a huge depression, and then once I came out of it, I'm like, I need to change my major because I need to have a job that, whether the economy's good or bad, you need me. So it was either I was going to be in IT or I was going to figure out how to do something with money. And I'm like, I can't do IT, so I jumped into finance and never looked back. So that was kind of the saga of the beginning.
When you started down that road, though, what was one of the moments maybe that really changed how you looked at that? Because I'm sure you grew up with certain perceptions about the finance world. What was maybe some of the biggest things that like really hit you right out the gate?
That all this knowledge is hidden in jargon. If you have a fundamental understanding of just like life, all it is jargon. And people are saying like, hey, you know, what is the EBITDA? What is this? All this stuff is like, what is your bottom line? How much does it cost? How much did you spend to get it? And then how much did you make? So once I kind of peeled the onion back on that and I started realizing it's not as hard as people think. It's just gate kept a little bit. No one wants to allow you to know the tricks in the practices of finance because they want you to depend on them. Once I figured that out, I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah, because I mean, you hear people start saying Series 7 or something like that, and like, I mean, that's like getting your law degree, passing, you know, board for medical school or something. You know, everybody like makes that like the biggest thing in the world. It's
not. I mean, it was hard test when I had to take it. It was difficult. We talk about struggles. When I first got into finance, I had my first job. I got fired from the job because I couldn't pass the test. Like I got fired 4 months in, and I'm like, what the hell am I going to do now? Like, hopefully this is like a cussing podcast. I'll make sure I can.
You're solid, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to do.
I couldn't go that long without cussing, man.
I'm like, man. So I got fired from my first job because I couldn't pass the test. So I ended up getting another opportunity, studied my ass off. I might study for like 7 months. I ended up passing it. And it's a hard test. It's a test that if you are not prepared, it's not like a test that you can trick it and try to figure it out. It's one of those you have to know what you have to know. So it's definitely difficult.
Right on. What's one of the things you focus on in preserving wealth for someone who might be just starting their career or struggling with, you know, student debt, or, you know, maybe what are some of the first steps that you would advise somebody to take in that kind of scenario?
I would say let's understand your goals. I think that's step one when you're trying to plan for wealth. Understand your goals. Set out, you know, hey, I want to have a $10 million net worth. Hey, I want to be financially free. I want to be debt free, whatever the case may be. And then work it backwards. So what's the 10-year goal? What's the 5-year goal? What's the 3-year goal? What's the 1-year goal? What's the 6-month goal? I would say if you work that backwards, that's the first step. And then people that are trying to have explosive wealth need to start immediately thinking that I cannot be an employee, because I don't know a job in the world that's going to pay you $25 million. I don't know a job in the world that's going to pay you $5 million. And we're talking about doctors and lawyers aren't making that. So one of the biggest tickets to explosive wealth is entrepreneurship. So I would say really tap in on top of planning and figuring out your goals. Figure out what your superpower is. Everyone has one. Everyone has something that they do innately better than someone else, and it's easy. That if they probably practice more, they would be elite at it. So figure your superpower out, and then you have to figure out how to monetize that as an entrepreneur.
Right on. Is there something maybe that you've learned in the same vein as that, where I'm sure you have, you know, elite athletes you're dealing with that maybe come in with like real wild expectations, even when you're telling them to plan this out and work backwards? Because in that scenario, they're probably used to making these really huge contracts, and depending on what stage of their career you got them in, is there like a process that you think works really well for someone to like really hone that in a little bit more, that would apply to someone that maybe doesn't have that kind of like big capital early on, but is trying to work up to it?
For sure. I would say coaches always told me the 6 P's. Piss poor preparation promotes piss poor performance. Prepare. That strategy part is everything. Strategize, implement, execute. Find people in the field that are already doing what you desire to do, and put strategy to it. Create budgets. Again, create goals. That's kind of what I would tell someone. And then develop your expertise. Everyone needs that level of expertise, because when you don't have, when you can't lean on expertise and knowledge, most people lean on experience. So the guy that is an electrician has been doing it 25 years, you tell me why he's better than a guy that's been doing 2 years. The only thing the guy has that's been doing it 2 years to stand on is certifications, but this guy has experience. So the more you become an expert, it eliminates the necessity of trying to cover that gap of experience, especially when you're just starting out. So just become an expert. That's what I would tell people.
Right on. You know, we often hear about the importance of saving early. Can you explain why starting to save and invest early is crucial, and what are some small steps someone with maybe a limited budget could do to start really helping them set themselves up to build wealth?
Yeah, for sure. So the biggest thing with saving early is time. If anybody has ever heard of compound interest, you can't beat it. I don't care if you're a 25-year-old guy and there's a 45-year-old guy, and you guys decide that you want to save the same amount per month. 25-year-old guy is going to win every single time because he has time. So if you're starting out, I don't care if it's $10, $50, $100, just start to invest a little bit at a time. Eliminate your debt as much as you can and use compound interest, because you know the way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. You just have to start plucking away at that big money pit at the end of the road, per se.
What would you say to someone that feels like they're too young or too inexperienced to really start thinking about wealth preservation?
I would say, kind of going back to the last thing, it's never too early to start. These are going to be over. So a person that's in between the age of 20 to 35, like those are the times that you're getting ready to start making the most money you've ever made in your life. By the time you're about 35, you should be on that big uptick. It shouldn't be too many more pay raises after 35. Most people end up capping out around the age like 47. They end up not making more money than they've made, whether it's 100,000, 150, because once you get to that precipice, that hill, most employers are going to start to want to hire younger executives. So you're 47, they want to hire the 35-year-old with the young new ideas. So people who think they have time on their side really don't have time on their side. I hear people all the time, especially athletes. They're like, man, they're getting $100,000 checks every week. And they're like, I'll be fine. I can go spend 95 and I'll get another check next week. But when you're done, you're going to be 29 years old. And you live the life of you spending $100,000. You only got $5 million left. That's going to run out real fast. And you're going to be at 35. If you were an NFL guy, you're going to be back coaching, trying to do some type of training, trying to leverage your knowledge in football because you never develop another skill.
That's what I think is so interesting with what you guys do, because, like early on, I had Mike on here.
Yeah.
And getting to pick his brain as well. And, you hear and see people all the time, especially younger people. Yeah, your parents tell you a lot of these things sometimes, but you don't really listen to them. You still think you got it figured out and you got time and all these things. Mm-hmm. But it's almost the same thing, too, because you get the other end of it with you guys is now you're talking about athletes that made it big, that are they're living their dream. They got that, they got drafted. They got that big signing bonus, or they've played in the league a few years and now they got that first really big contract.
Yep.
And And just seeing how you guys go in and approach that with them, it's so similar. It's just this guy's coming in with this and is spending way more and doesn't have any boundaries or wherewithal to like know what to do or how to handle it. And he's even got more problems because he's got all kinds of people coming to him for money, wanting handouts and everything else. Whereas you have the other person that just, oh, I don't have enough. Or I'm not experienced enough, or I can't play in that game yet. And then they're afraid to even dabble in it in whatever means they can. And I think that's such an interesting mix, and how that all translates and goes back and forth.
It's a crazy dynamic. I hear people all the time like, man, you made $5 million. How the hell you go broke? I'm like, all right, imagine coming from a underserved community and you make it to college based on athletic ability, and they say don't worry about anything else, focus on football, don't worry about anything else, focus on basketball, and you're first generation everything, first generation college, first generation wealth. Then you get in at 21 and you go make $5 million. I don't know what you were doing at 21, but if you trusted me with $5 million, it wouldn't have worked out for me. So then, now you're thrust into being the head of the household. But most people don't respect you because you're still the young one. They're like, yo, you need to listen to me. I know what all I'm talking about, but you never had money. You never went to college. It is just this catch-22 where it's like be the leader of your family, but make wise decisions in a place that you've never had experience in. And I'm like, dude, I get so frustrated when I hear people talk about these young athletes who don't come from anything and then they don't have good guidance. I'm like, how do they know who to trust? So athletes turn around and they trust people based on energy. Man, I got good energy. I'm gonna trust them, not because of any certification or verification. I'm just gonna trust you because I don't know what I don't know. And then they get taken advantage of, and then the public says, well, how'd you lose all that money? I thought I trusted the guy I was supposed to trust, And then on the other side where, people are coming up, we live in this microwave generation, like the young generation, they want everything now. We get on social media and we can, be millionaires tomorrow. All we gotta do is one viral video. Like, life still rewards hard workers. Like, people, I don't know why people don't believe that anymore. The people that work really hard and they work their ass off to achieve what they want, it's still reward for those people. But I don't know. I blame COVID, bro. I don't know why people think like it's a shortcut to success. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, it's because everything's instantized on social media and there's so much fake shit out there.
Seriously.
And I mean, and I feel bad. I mean, I even feel bad for like the athletes because it's like you're saying too, and then you hear the bad stories about agents and stuff like that. Like, what are they supposed to do? Like, they have to have an agent. They pick one, and maybe it's the same thing. Like, I vibed with this dude, or he's the only dude that called me. No one thought I was going to get drafted. Or now maybe it was just a referral from somebody to have an agent. And I mean, a few bad mistakes early on, and, not all of them get these like massive mega $1 million contracts right out the gate either. I mean, not that it isn't above average money for most people, but now you're also in a league where keeping up with the Joneses is a whole nother different game.
Seriously.
And your dinners and partying and lifestyle and wardrobe and cars and houses is a whole nother thing. And then what happens to the guy that has that like fatal injury early on and never really gets it back?
The funny thing is, I talk about this, but most people don't know these statistics. So like, I don't know if you know, but only 5 to 7% of the NFL makes over $10 million. So if we put that in perspective, it's maybe 1, 2, or 3 guys that make over $10 million in the locker room on the team. Probably the quarterback, wide receiver, DN, maybe one other guy.
Yeah.
And you're in the same locker room, and I'm like, Garrett, what you doing this weekend? Like, man, I'm going to get a Rolls Royce. Well, I put my pads on the same way you put your pads on. I feel like I can go get one too. And it's like, we're not the same. But it doesn't feel that way because we're on the same field. We got the same job. We do all of that. And that's, I think, where a lot of guys get lost, because you're with Dak and you think you do stuff that Dak does because of proximity. But it's not always the case, unfortunately. So
that's wild. And it's like, you even think about through the different sports. I mean, like, how does that transition for you too? Because I know you deal with, not just football players, but I mean, I know you deal with a lot of baseball players. So
baseball, boxing.
Baseball contracts, and those guys make it. That can be whole nother level.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. Baseball's a whole different ball game. But some of this stuff trickles into baseball. If you look at Ellie De La Cruz, look at Tatis. Both of those guys. I actually had a guy in the NFL get locked into one of these contracts. So those De La Cruz and Tatis, they come from the Dominican or one of those countries, and these companies, these private equity companies, will say, hey, you haven't hit the big deal yet. You need to get back home. You need to train in the summer. Family needs money, right? I'll give you $10 million. If you get hurt, you keep the $10 million. But I want to buy 15% of your career earnings. $10 million right now, that sounds pretty good. I can take care of if I get hurt, I don't have to pay it back. Then you go sign a $500 million deal. And they get 15% of the gross, not the net, not after taxes. They get 15% of the $500 million. And they're like, dude, I'm screwed. Like, why did I even sign up to do this? But those things are happening even in baseball. So having someone, I don't want to just narrow it in into professional athletes. Having someone across the board, you go get your first big job as an entrepreneur, you go get your first big contract, or you secure some business. Make sure that you have trusted advisement. And don't just trust people, because a lot of times when we don't know what we don't know, we'll just trust it based on the energy. Verify. Trust and verify. So that's huge.
Well, even just the words. I mean, people get so comfortable with the first person that maybe not even just, and maybe we're talking about the same thing, just on a little slightly different levels, but if someone sounds overly educated, or the perception is that they know, and you don't verify, and I mean like really verify, especially the larger amounts of money you're talking about.
Yep.
And find someone that really knows that thing, and start vetting a little bit.
Yep.
Like that deal, 9 times out of 10, that deal is not going to go away before you would have time to do proper vetting.
For sure.
And if it does, it probably wasn't the right one for you anyways.
For sure.
And there'll be another one.
For 100%.
People get caught up in that, and it's like, I mean, I can even think about some times where I finally had a little bit of money and was like, all right, I need to make up some time investing here and stuff. And lo and behold, it happens real quickly, like when you're waiting for an opportunity, and then when you're ready to take advantage of that opportunity, they start appearing.
100%.
And if you're not fully ready for that, and now you're really eager because you've been waiting, and now it's the first time you've had an opportunity like that. And I am so glad that the people around me, my wife and different people that I was trusting that had done some different deals, were able to say, whoa, tap the brakes. Like, I know this person has a track record of these things, but you got to look past that too. Like, these are more industry specific or investment specific things you also need to look at. Because again, it's real easy to jump in that, and like, I can think of at least 2 off the top of my head. I'm like, holy shit, I'm so glad that whatever gut feeling, different people saying things, that I slowed down and tapped the brakes. Because on the cover, and these were all people that I knew, it looked like really good, but then I kind of had to say, whoop, nope, let's wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple right now, and they're 401k millionaires. That's what I call them. They saved really well, and they're the millionaire next door. It's a book about that.
Yeah.
And they got pitched, back like 08, 09, 2010. It was a whole bunch of different stuff going on. Like, hey, purchase an oil well in Montana, sight unseen. You never seen it. You can't go to it. And like, this is an investment opportunity. And I'm like, how do you even know it exists? Like, it's a whole bunch of Bernie Madoff stuff, going on. But that's the thing that the millionaire next door, the people that have worked their asses off all of their lives, and then they sell a good story. And you don't come from that. You come from blue collar. There's tons of guys that do blue collar jobs, and they're millionaires, and they're sitting on a ton of money. And then somebody comes and says, hey, I can do 7x your money. Like, come invest in this. You know oil. It's in West Texas. Like, come invest in this oil rig. And it's just like, it sounds good. It sounds really good. But trust, you can't just trust everybody. I have contractors coming out to my house to go work on stuff, and I'm like, let me ask around about this guy. Has he ran off with anyone's money? You got to have that verification, because you worked all of your life to get where you are. For the people that are established and the people that are trying to get established, make sure that when you're entrusting in someone, you have a good community, a good network. That's why I love in industrial. There's some great guys back here.
Yeah.
And I can ask them anything. Like, hey, do you know this guy? What's the deal on him? So.
And it's funny too, I mean, and you guys have seen, I've had several different people on the show from industrial that are my network of people up here, and several of them are all in the financial different aspects of it. And each one completely different. I mean, yes, they work with investments in different kinds and different situations. What would be the process, or how would you advise someone to start the process? Like, when someone brings a new deal to you guys, like, you've got your clientele, but maybe there's a new investment. Like, maybe it's Bitcoin. Like, maybe you guys haven't really helped or dabbled in Bitcoin yet.
Yep.
How do you guys go about vetting so that, like, maybe they can understand, like, to the level that you guys take that before you're ever going to present a deal like that to, like, one of your clients?
For sure. It's a 6-step process. It typically, depending on how I'm getting in and how much is being allocated to that investment, it's a 6-step process. So the first thing that is very important for people is to develop an investment thesis. It's almost like having core values. Like, if someone, if you're a Christian and someone said, hey, you need to worship the devil, it's a no-go immediately. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. So you have to have those boundaries for investments as well. So for real estate, we look for cash flow. I typically don't invest in ground up developments. I want to buy something that's multifamily, already operating. We might go buy it, renovate it, it's cash flowing, it's already 95% occupied. So my point is, we create an investment thesis. What are the yeses and what are the immediate nos? Once it gets past that investment thesis and that criteria, then we start to do due diligence. So going through the financials, you typically have to sign an NDA to get the financials and the meat. The financials is going to tell its own story. They've been telling you, hey, it's going to be 10x year over year, blah, blah. So then once you look through your financials and say the company is what they say they are, now you verify from industry standard. So, okay, this is let's call it we're investing in a baseball team. What multiple does the baseball team sell at? Does it sell at a 10x multiple, a 5x multiple? What valuation are we getting in at? And then what's the comparable exit? So let's say, for example, the Yankees are selling right now. What was the last baseball team that sold, and what did they sell for? So you have to have some comps.
Yeah.
That's like step 3. Step 4 is the legal. The devil is in the details. Okay, yeah, the financials sound good, and the comparables sound good. Now let's start getting into the terms. So we get our legal counsel and really look at, hey, what is going on in those details? Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't read all those details. I let the legal team look at it. But once you get there and you start looking at terms and you're okay with it, the last part is now you have an investment committee. So for people who are you going through it over there with that mic.
Oh, no. And he brought the good ones today, you know, so I had to deal with the duct tape ones last week, you know.
Gosh, man.
This one's fighting me.
There we go. So the investment committee. So I always try to relate it back to personal life as well.
Yeah.
You got to have like some sounding boards. So our investment committee consists of like our CPA, consists of me as the VP of finance, consists of a financial analyst, consists of our CEO, Mike. So it always is an odd number of people. So when you vote and we bring up all the facts, here's the financials, here's the legal, here's this. So as an individual, you might want to have like, you know, a close friend that has experience. Have your spouse, have your financial advisor, have your legal counsel, and then talk about, hey, this is the bigger investment that we're going to make, especially if it's private. You know, if you're doing, you know, stocks and bonds, that doesn't take all that. But if you're looking at doing like a franchise or you're doing something private, a friend came and brought a deal and it sounds great, you need that committee of people to kind of see through, because we're humans. Naturally, we rely on emotion. You know, we're friends. Like you, I bring you a deal. Like Jay's trustworthy, but you still need to go and verify that it works for you. Not that I'm a fraud, but does it work for you? You know, individually. So,
but yeah, and I think where I'm getting at on that too is Mike and I even talked about this, you know, a little bit, and you know, I've been a part of even like introducing some people to Mike, because like, you know, Mike talked to me, he's like, hey, I'm looking at this, and like, don't you know people in this arena?
Yeah.
Actually I do. I know this guy. Like, let me set up something and meet, and I sit and like watch how he picks their brain to really get a good understanding of it, because it's a new area for him.
Yep.
And I think people need to really take that same approach and networking and building different relationships, and especially like if you're picking a new area for investment, like whether that was multifamily or restaurants or a bar or, you know, whatever it is, like you're going to want to like see other areas of it. Like, yeah, you can get all this stuff and go through the steps there too, but find somebody. I mean, it's real easy these days between LinkedIn and everything else to find somebody that's within your parameters that you can go ask questions to.
For
and
sure.
Most of those people are more than happy to share their experiences that, you know, okay, I see that you owned a bunch of bars and restaurants back in the day, but you're completely out now. Why? You know, what were the different cycles that you went through in the 20, 30 years you own those? You know, what would you look for that would be red flags for you? Because so much of that stuff is cyclical. And it comes and goes. So it's like, even though it looks good right now, like, and I mean, there's certain things that happen that you can't predict, but you can narrow that risk margin down a whole lot if you just do those due diligent things.
I'm not a big component of like your network is your net worth. I don't know if everybody hears that thing. Man, your network can provide you a lot of access though. Access is everything. Like, I have had some of the better experiences in life. I wouldn't say like I've made so much money off of my network, but as far as experiences and opportunities have come from my network. So my advice to anyone would be, don't go wide when meeting all these different people and say, hey, I know this guy. Go deep. Really establish relationships with less people instead of trying to go wide and say, I know all these other people, because the access doesn't come from knowing people. It's the established relationships. I can call people in my network that will move mountains for me, versus if I didn't have that relationship, I would just be a guy that they know in the network. You know, so that's my biggest advice is go deep, not wide. Like,
yeah, I think a lot of people, like you said, they try to go wide. And have you really developed trust?
Yep.
I mean, because trust goes so much further. If it, it's just like inviting a guest on the show. Like if after time and because we've talked and you get to know me, and then you also know how my show goes and whatnot, you then don't have the worry of like, hey, Garrett, I really want to introduce so-and-so to you. I think, we want to get him a little more exposure, but maybe he has something in the background that like, we don't really want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I've now established that we have the trust. I'm not TMZ. I give three shits about talking about that. Like, let's talk about the other things, and I said that early on because I get asked all the time about like, well, how'd you get so-and-so guest on? And especially a lot of times with the professional athletes. Mm-hmm. I'm like, first of all, like, do you know how many times they've been interviewed about being the athlete?
Yeah.
Like, do they really want to come do a podcast and be interviewed about their career down to like the same thing they've answered a million times? Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know, like, because when you get into that level of professionalism in sports, you've obviously been around a lot of great leaders of men, a lot of great coaches. You've had a lot of great exposure and opportunities. Let's dig into that because what are you going to take off the field?
For sure.
And you'd be amazed. Like, those are way better stories than the shit you've already seen on ESPN highlight reels.
Yeah. And you'll be amazed about the feedback and the energy you get from them as well.
Absolutely.
Because it's so much beyond. I mean, it's just like interviewing someone that's in the military.
Yeah.
And all you want to do is talk about the stories of what they're going through.
How many people did you kill?
Exactly. Which is cool for the common, person. Mm-hmm. But once you peel the layer back and you start to talk about like, hey, leadership and the passion behind it and why did you even join it and what'd you get from it? Like those things are huge, for a lot of people.
So we've kind of started talking about building trust being central to your work with the athletes. What advice would you give to someone starting their career where it's critical for them to build relationships with high-profile people or, to where they're really building meaningful and long-term relationships? Because I'm sure when you first got in, it was a lot different. And maybe there were some struggles you can share and experiences there because I know you started out when you got into Rise as like, I think business development was your first role.
Yeah.
So what was that like and how did you go about that and balancing that?
Yeah. So my mentor always told me that everything that's worth having is on the other side of hard. Like everything that you want is on the other side of hard. So pretty much saying like when you meet opposition, keep pushing, keep going because the triumph is on the other side of hard. And I've faced a lot of, ups and downs as far as trying to get to where I am today. Like I was telling you, my first job, I ended up getting fired. I'm like, do I even belong? Like, am I supposed to be here? I'm just this athlete that decided he wanted to jump into finance and I can't figure it out. And then right after that, I end up, have you ever seen the 30 for 30? It's called Broke. Biz is shaking his hand. So it's pretty much a 30 for 30. It talks about athletes that go broke after retirement.
I have seen that.
So I ended up taking a job for the guy that's the main financial advisor on there. I ended up taking a job with him, and I learned so much about the industry. We work with entertainers, work with professional athletes. After that, I ended up transitioning to becoming a wealth advisor, and I was a financial advisor for several years. But those triumphs, those trials tested me a lot. I'll say this, the biggest thing for me is a lot of people want to be great at something. Everybody wants to be great, but they're not willing to put in the time or we were talking about microwave society and microwave generation, but a lot of people are okay with just being good. So in order to become great, you got to get the reps. Another thing that my mentor always told me is repetition kills doubt. The more you do something, the less doubt you'll have about it. And where we are today, they'll get the reps until they become good at it, and they just get it right that time. Once they get it right, they'll leave it alone. But the people that are great, the people that are the Steph Currys of the world, the Otanis of the world, they'll do it till they can't get it wrong. They'll keep doing it until they can't get it wrong. Now they're 95% versus good. And it's funny, I saw Will Smith say something. He's like, a B student thinks it's so hard, so easy to be an A student. The margin from being an 88 student to a 95 student is a lot larger than you think in your mind. Like that kid that's a 95 student looks at the kid that's an 88 and says it's worlds of difference. So I tell everybody that would be starting out, embrace opposition, embrace the failures. I'm almost a person that, like, if I feel like it's too easy, it bothers me more than it being hard. I like my back up against the wall. I like putting me in a fight or flight situation because I'm not a flight type of guy. I want to figure it out. Because the lesson's going to come out. Either I'm going to win. I can't lose. I'm a win or I'm a win. I'm a win from the lesson, or I'm a win because I conquered it. So going out there trying to figure out who to network with, keep doing it. Keep going after it, because someone's going to fall in love with your passion, even if you don't have the experience. So that would be my biggest advice for people.
How did you approach networking? Because I know a lot of young people really struggle with networking, and we can kind of lump this in with finding mentors, because that is something that gets brought up constantly. And I'm really interested to hear your take on this, because I know you've been surrounded by some amazing mentors just from some of the conversations you and I've had over cigars in the past. Yeah.
I'll actually give you something that Mike has given me. Embrace yourself. I remember networking was kind of hard for me. I'm a people person. I can speak to anyone, but people couldn't feel my genuineness because I would go into every room trying to sell myself. Hey, I'm Jay. I got a degree in this, and I went to gig 'em. I'm this, and that, and that's cool. But how do people connect if you're always selling yourself? So Mike gave me some advice one time, and we were in a room and very high class, wealthy people, and the topic, he had just moved here. The topic of politics that came up. I'm like, hey, we're in Texas. We don't talk about politics, regardless of what you like or you don't like. You just never know who you're talking to. And he gave me some advice. He was like, man, if I can't authentically be myself, I don't belong there. And that's one thing I admire. So ever since then, I'm like, I'm gonna be me. Either you are an ally or you're not, but at least you don't have to guess who I am. So anyone that I would give advice to that's young, embrace you. Be authentically you. Of course, there's class, there's certain settings that you have to follow the rules. You don't show up at the golf course with a tank top on, but there's decorum. But don't stray away from being authentically you, because that is the connection that people have to you. And most people who are older or on the other side of their careers, they want to invest in the younger person. Like I want to give you all the tools because I see that you have it. And if you're constantly trying to sell yourself, there's nothing about you that sticks out. The authentic part sticks out. So that's what I would give people.
Is there any what was maybe the first major roadblock you hit when you got into dealing with athletes?
Man, so coming from the world of finance and working as a wealth advisor, I was constantly pitching myself to be credible because I was young. I remember I was talking about credibility and experience. Yeah. So I had to tell them hey, my whole pitch was, your livelihood is my livelihood. If I fail, you fail. Like I'm not going to fail. So that's the only way I could get, guys that didn't look like me and they were 40 years older to trust me with their money. My biggest issue for me as a financial guy coming into working with high profile athletes is they didn't care about that. They care nothing about your credibility. They cared everything about your relatability. And I had a hard time with that. Like, I almost came across as fake because I was trying to be the guy that knew everything and sounded like, and they didn't care. Yeah, like they didn't give a damn about that. Like, first off, can I trust you? Because there's so many people out here trying to take advantage of me, trying to get one over on me. Because when it comes to like street smarts, most athletes are knowledgeable. They sense energy. They're like, he's up to something. I'm not even gonna work with him. They don't even know anything about him. So that was my biggest roadblock, getting over, the whole wanting to sound is not sound, but be as knowledgeable as possible, but packaging it to how they could receive it. That's why a lot of people don't find success with athletes, because they don't care. They want to be able to receive it. Like, talk to me as if I don't know anything and be able to present it. So that has been actually, our claim to fame is like, we're not only relatable, we're credible as well. Like, you can go look us up, you can go check us out in our backgrounds, but I can also package it to where you can receive it. That's the big thing.
Yeah, that's something I've talked about quite a bit too, as the questions come up again with guests in my situation a lot of times. And it's so many people, I can get starstruck too. I'm sure it happens to everybody. I'm sure there's times you've gotten hit with that as well.
It's a couple guys that I'll say, damn, that
yeah,
that's LeBron, yeah, for sure,
yeah,
for sure.
But in the same note, so many of these people, they just want to be treated like normal human beings,
for sure.
And if you can do that and be relatable and not interrupting them while they're with their families or their children, or an inappropriate time, or what is that picture or autograph really worth to you?
For sure.
Would you not think it's a way better thing that if you actually, that even if it's someone you highly admire or are, a follower of, to simply shake their hand and have maybe a conversation with them for a minute or two?
Yep.
That who knows what that turns into, versus that one little autograph that you're probably going to lose or never see again, or put in a picture frame and never does you anything.
For sure. I'll tell you this. I've been working with professional athletes 6 years now. I've been in the industry over 10 years. Out of the 6 years, I represent over 13 plus athletes. I have one autograph jersey. One. And over the years, worked with over 30 athletes. I've had one autograph jersey because could I get them? Yeah, I could have them all over my office wall right now. But I tell all my guys, like, man, I love the fact that I can have a conversation with your mom and she's asking me about finance. She's asking me about some guidance or some type of education or mentorship. I love the fact that I can sit down in a boardroom and look at this whiteboard and we're talking about your strategy and how we can support your family, and you can take that and give it to your son. Because wealth is not passed down through money, it's passed down through knowledge. You can give your kid $1 million right now and they go screw it off because they didn't know what to do with it. It's just like me. I hear all the time, I think it was Michael Irvin or something like that. He got like $1 million check and they had to call him and say, hey, are you going to cash the check? Like, he's like, man, I didn't know what to do. I was so excited. I've never seen this amount of money. He had it in his drawer for like 4 months. Like, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, is so rewarding, is to being able, because they're people at the end of the day. They're people who in 4 to 5 years will be sitting around just like me and you, wanting to talk about life and wanting to talk about how things unfold. And, you know, hey man, you got a teenage daughter. What do I do right now? You know, my son is starting to buck up at me. He's 13. What'd you do? Those things are what they want to talk about, you know. And a lot of times people lose sight of that because of the celebrity part.
Yeah, they don't treat them like normal human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really wild. I mean, I've watched it firsthand just doing events with a lot of my friends and stuff, people that I've built relationships with over the years, and it really is wild to watch.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
What kind of advice would you give somebody, and how do you guys deal with personal brands? Because that's becoming, or is, such a thing now. How important is that, and where do you find that most applicable for people? Yeah,
I would say, you know, we deal with a ton of personal brands nowadays. Like for example, like Chick-fil-A built their whole brand not off advertisement. They built it off efficiency and like the taste of the food. Yeah. And that has just trickled over into a cult following. I mean, yeah, I got the app. I eat Chick-fil-A all the time. I would say in today's society, people build trust behind a brand based on what they see. If I post Rolls Royces all the time, they believe I have one. They believe I can afford it. They believe that's all the credibility I need. So I would tell people to, one, create a product that is fulfilling a need, whether it's you as a personal brand, not necessarily a physical product. Yeah. But create a product that has a target audience, and then visually build your credibility through visuals. Like, hey, you see me in the community, capture those moments, you know, like this podcast. People can go and see this and say, hey, he's really doing it. You could not put any video to this podcast and have people listen to it. Yeah. But when people go see it, they're like, okay, the snippets, the breakdowns, that's what's going to draw, and that's the branding right now. That's what everybody wants to see. Those, you know, they might not watch the whole hour worth of podcast, but they're going to watch that 20-second clip and they're say, man, he knows what the hell he's talking about. Yeah. You know, for 20 seconds, you know, and it's the meat is really in the podcast. So I would tell people, establish good visuals and along with a good product, because really the product comes second based on the visual part. So that's what I would tell them. Yeah, it does lead to that, and it's funny because that is what really helped us the most too, because it is long format. Is once we started doing those shorts, and then people get to see those clips, because it's funny. You kind of assume that just a name or a title and stuff is enough for most people, and you find out it's not. Even with some of the biggest names I've had on this show, all the way to the smaller names, and it's funny which ones end up being the like really highly watched ones. Yeah. In long format, or even some of the ones that are like in the short formats. Mm-hmm. Like, it's really wild what gets traction and what doesn't. And I'm learning that the setup more, you know, ahead of time, because it's like, okay, great, I posted Jay Bass is gonna be on here. Well, half people are like, who the hell is Jay Bass? Yep. And it's like you said, like, put the video out there and tell a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And get that built up, because I mean, even for you with what you do, you don't have a ton of content out there like on social media and stuff like that. I mean, I know you guys do on the website and certain things here and there. Yeah. But the majority of what it is video content. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's consistency. That's probably the thing I'll tell people. Be consistent. If it's posting Monday, post every Monday. If it's a catchphrase, everybody should know you by the consistency and whatever the catchphrase is. So if it's like starting every video, what's up guys? What's up guys? Start every video with the same thing, because then you become the what's up guys person. Like that is your brand. Like continue to do that. Continue to be consistent, because the people who follow you and they're going to tell people about you, they want to say, hey, every Monday he's giving you this. Every Tuesday he's doing this. For a while I was doing a investment series where I was just breaking down through video content what different things are, what are red flags, what are the myths about private investments. And I was doing that, and I did it every single week for like 6 weeks straight. And people came to me, and I didn't think it was going to get a lot of traction. They're like, dude, I learned so much. I'm like, well, maybe I need to do this again. Like, okay, cool. So that's a personal brand is important. Consistency and, making sure that you're establishing your brand.
Well, you hit on it earlier that, for people that want to create true wealth, and, it's funny that society as a whole really looks down on someone that like wants to be ultra wealthy.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, like
crazy.
You call a friend or family member and be like, hey, I just got this book about being a millionaire. They're going to be like, well, you just made that guy a millionaire buying his book.
Yeah.
You dumbass. Like, how's that going to make you a millionaire?
Yeah.
Like, people don't want to, like, dive into that. But, like, if you really put that intention out there, but you talked about, like, if that's the path you want to go down, like, there ain't many jobs that are going to be paying you multi-million dollars a year.
Yep.
So entrepreneurship, what would you advise somebody is like the first steps in how to really start going down that road? If we've got a young listener or something that's like, all right, what would you say I should do? Like, how do I go about this? Like,
yeah. What I would tell people is, first off, it's a book. It's a book called The E-Myth. It's the E stands for the entrepreneurial myth.
That's Michael Gerber, right?
I think so. I think it might be Michael Gerber. That's one of my favorite authors, by the way. Yeah. But the book talks about 3 roles. It talks about the technician, the manager, and I think it's the entrepreneur. That book will help you define. Everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. It's just not for everybody. The hustle and bustle, I think to me, it might be a little bit more rewarding making $75,000 for yourself than making it for someone else. But to other people, they like the comfort. They like to be able to go to my job, know that I have a salary and it's set. I have my benefits. So if you're a person like that, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to have explosive earnings, the first thing you have to do is become a technician. That expert I was talking about. Become the expert. Once you have figured that out, the book references like an electrician, and he becomes an expert, and his boss is always telling him what to do, how to do it, blah, blah, blah. And then he gets fed up and he says, man, I can go be an entrepreneur myself. Goes and starts the company. But when he changes his hat from being a technician to being a manager, it becomes very hard because he learned how to do things on his own. So now when he's hiring people to do the job that he's done, he's micromanaging. They're not doing it the way that he would do it. And it becomes very hard. Everybody that's a technician can't be an entrepreneur. So really, really understanding that those are different skill sets. To become a leader, that's a skill set. Like I was on a panel a couple weeks ago, and I tell people all the time, like, being a hard worker, it's a skill set. It's not just working hard. Like, if you watch the NBA Finals, it's a guy named TJ McConnell that plays for the Indiana Pacers. Short white guy that gets overlooked, and a lot of his stats don't show up in the stat sheet. But he is making those plays that change the trajectory of the game. But he doesn't get any accolades from it. He doesn't get a steal, assist, or a point for it. But that dive out of bounds, that block that took all this effort that nobody else would have done, and it changes the emotion, the momentum. It changes the whole game. The only way they capture it in basketball, I call it plus minus. So pretty much whenever you're on the floor, whenever Garrett's on the floor, we score 7 more points. So that's how it's captured. But it doesn't capture like what you're doing to cause that. But when you're on the floor, we score 7 more points. Learning those technical, like how to work hard. What does that look like? Because everyone isn't a hard worker. Like they might be good at what they do, but they don't know how to bust their ass. Like it's a skill. It's leadership and hard work is a skill set that a lot of people don't get. I hope my son gets it one day. Like what does that look like to be a hard worker and to be a leader? So that's what I would give everybody. Read the E-Myth, become a technician, learn the skill set of being a manager, and scale that to being an entrepreneur, because that's a whole nother skill set. How can I manage salaries? How can I pay certain people? You know, different things like that. That would be my recommendation.
I agree with you, and I think there can be a lot of going back and forth, because if I look at my own career path, you know, I started out in the corporate world, and then I wanted to do my own thing, and I did kind of a franchise family business type thing for a while. And then when that failed because I didn't have all the skills, and then I also dealt with an economic crash in that time period and stuff like that, that killed me wanting to be an entrepreneur for quite a while. Yeah. I was like, I don't want all those burdens. I don't want all that on my shoulders. And because as an entrepreneur, especially early on, you have to wear a lot of different hats.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you most of the time, you can't come out the gate with all the people in the right seats doing certain things that you need. You have to build up to that.
For sure.
So people need to go out and learn the different parts of that and experience it and see it, and maybe find out that, hey, okay, I'm a little weak in the leadership role here. Well, there's lots of things you can go do to be better at that. Maybe I'm a little bit weak at, you know, just managing this or understanding this part of the business, and maybe I need to get my hands a little dirtier, and I need to master just this real basic thing a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can see that ebb and flow as you look back, but yeah, you really want that thing and to have that CEO title or to be the entrepreneur that's, you know, building XYZ business.
Yep.
But there are so many parts in that sometimes it takes time where, you know, there was a period in my life where I told you, like, I never want to do that again. And here, you know, I've evolved in the next phase in the contracting world from estimator to sales to business development to now I'm one of the partners, you know, and like now wearing more hats and doing that. And like now I can see it like, oh man, I can do all these things.
Yeah.
I just needed more time and experience with these things and to feel grounded in some of those areas.
Yeah. In order to be a leader like that, you have to be happy with people winning. A lot of people that are in leadership roles are not happy with people winning, especially if they're winning more than them.
Yeah.
It is crazy to me that like I would say 60-70% of people are under leadership that don't want them to win more than them. What kind of leader is like that? Like,
it's mind blowing, right? That like
it is.
To their own detriment, and they will sabotage and do all these other crazy things.
Yep.
Just because they're not winning at whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or they're being outnumbered or outbested in any way, shape, or form, whether that's reality or their reality or just how they see it. It's really wild to see that. I mean, so starting a business, I mean, it can be daunting. I mean, I just kind of shared some of my experience there with that. What advice do you have for someone looking to turn an idea that's really raw, you know, into a business that especially when they don't have a lot of capital to work with, like, and also how do you look at that when you have someone coming to you guys that maybe they aren't that dude that does it, but they have the idea or the concept?
Yeah. One thing about athletes is we fix this problem, but most athletes have a guy. I hate it. Everybody got a guy. You know, I got a guy that does this. I got a guy that does my finance. Oh, my agent, he does everything. I got a guy that got a guy. You know.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, if you want to start a business, first thing that you need to do is find someone that has already done it. Find someone that has already done it and attach yourself to them. Be a pest about it. If I want to if I want to start an extermination business, I'm going to attach myself to whoever has one. And that's another big thing on networking. We talk about networking all the time. Networking doesn't always translate into money, but it might translate into knowledge. And in the world that we live in, you can get on LinkedIn, you can go find a business, you can get on Google. If you aren't using ChatGPT by now, you need to catch up. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I know there's still some people out here that are like, never use AI. All right? Miss out if you want to. Miss out on the opportunity to advance yourself if you want to.
Well, it's like they're afraid to even try it, some people, and it's like, do you really think you're going to break the system? Like, get in there and just fuck around. Yeah. Like, play with it. Like, ask it the stupidest questions. Ask it what a 5-year-old would ask it. And just see. Like, it's amazing what it does.
It blows my mind how I refuse, as I continue to get older, for new things to come out and me to be resistant on it. You can resist. People resisted the internet. They resisted the cell phone. They resisted Bitcoin. You can resist all you want, and you will miss out on opportunity. I have literally seen AI code. I've seen ChatGPT code things. I've seen it create presentations. Now it's not in lieu of the knowledge. You need to give it the knowledge, but at the same time, like, if you don't embrace AI, if I'm a starting out entrepreneur, I'm using AI. There's no question about it. I want to start an interior design business. What are the steps? What do I need to do? Who do I need to meet? It should lay it all out for you. You have the manual. Whereas people 10 years ago, I want to start an interior design business. They're in the library looking up books. They're trying to figure it out. It's trial and error. Like, everything you need.
How to write a business plan. They're reading a novel this big, you know.
I mean, you can.
Looks like the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh my gosh, you can write a business plan and take it to a bank from ChatGPT.
And probably 10 minutes worth of you putting in information.
Man, how do I start an LLC? Like, they'll give you everything you need to know. It's LegalZoom will create you an LLC. All you gotta give them is $350. You get the entity docs, take it to a bank, and you're done. So what I would say to an entrepreneur is find someone that has done it, embrace AI, continue to be an expert. Now, sometimes funding is one of those things that people struggle with. But at the same time, banks you got SBA loans, you got, it's plenty of ways to get some type of funding to start. I know plenty of people that have built up their credit and taken cash advances and used it to start a business, and then they 10x that and paid those cash advances off. Not saying you should do that. Dave Ramsey would be pissed off at me right now. You know what I'm saying that. But when you want it so bad, that the entrepreneurs will make a way. Like, you'll make a way. But that's what I would recommend to people.
Yeah. It's funny, though. I heard someone explaining this when it comes to ChatGPT and AI, more so just AI. So many people still look at AI like the Terminator movie, and like there's this robot that has been made that is like the ultimate brain, and it's what's sitting there responding to you on the internet back in ChatGPT. Yeah. Like, no, it's legitimately like the rocket scientists, the Einsteins of coding and stuff have just created code that allows the computer, because it's really just a computer, just like you hear the word bot. Yep. It's just a program in the computer, but it has very specific instructions to where it like ciphers out the noise and focuses on the one thing.
Yep.
You know, like, and I think his example was that, you know, by the noise, it's all the other stuff. But you put in, what is the score of the Cowboys-Eagles game? Well, it's now going to go to all the web pages and everything. It's going to scour the internet, and anything that has nothing to do with other than the Cowboys and the Eagles score, it's going to cipher out. And then it's going to, all these links of here it is. But like, for some reason, people still think it is like this mastermind robot that's going to take over the world if you tell it too much or ask it the wrong question.
Yeah. Have you seen, dude, I hate big media, to be honest. Have you seen the news and they were saying, hey, you need to get, I forgot what shot it is. Like, if you're not getting the shot, it's an outbreak in Texas. Measles, I think it's like the measles shot. It's an outbreak in Texas. I looked the numbers up. I think it was like 300 cases. And it's all over the news, like every week. And like all the new moms are like, I gotta give my kid the measles shot. I got this, and I don't want to go political, but I looked up the population of Texas, and it was like 100x what the number of measles reported was. And I'm like, it is this hysteria over getting this shot because of media. Like, media has told everybody they want everybody to get the shot. I think it's the same thing with like AI. Oh, ChatGPT, they tried to shut a model down and it rewrote itself to try to keep going. And I'm like, all right, like if you can believe it if you want.
Yeah, I literally just had this conversation last night with my wife, because one of my favorite things to do right before I go to sleep is I will go to like the one or two little news sources that I think are fairly unbiased, you know, like, and try to get different perspectives, you know, from around the world, not just locally.
Yep.
And you can kind of see when a story hits on one and who got it first, and or maybe it's the same story, but now it's being told a whole different way somewhere else in the world. I love to do that. And I mean, most of my stuff is looking at history and science and stuff like that. That's what I like to follow. But there literally just recently was someone in, I think, Arizona died of pulmonary plague. But the headline was, someone in Arizona died of the plague. And when I first read it, my wife's like, wait, what? You know, like, was it like the bubonic plague? Like, what's happening now? You know, we all were. And it's like, if you read far enough into the article, like, yes, someone just died of the plague. They also told you that, like, almost all of these plagues, as long as you, like, go to the doctor early enough and you don't just, like, stay at home and think you're good and take care of yourself, are treated by antibiotics. Yeah. And you don't die.
Yep.
But they also said that on average, there's like 7 cases a year in the U.S. of plague.
Of billions of people? It was like 4.3 billion people.
Yeah. But yet this is like a fear headline that they're trying to put out there of like, the plague's here. Yeah. And I'm like, why do we do this? It's so frustrating and mind-numbing to me.
I hate it. I mean, that whole measles thing, I looked up and I'm a math guy. I did the math. I'm like, it's less than like 0.5% of Texas has the measles. But you're pushing this vaccination. I don't be like come off anti-vax, but whatever. Like it's just like this hysteria behind it, and I'm just like, do the research. The point is, do the research on your own. Don't miss out based on other people's experiences or their thoughts. Because a lot of people have a lot of opinions about things they don't know. Oh, no, I'll never do that. Have you done it? No, I've never done it. How can you say you'll never do it? And you're telling other people don't ever do it. For the longest, I'll give you a quick example. I never ate Jack in the Box. Everybody told me it was nasty. It's nasty. I'm like, I ain't eating Jack in the Box. I'm like, I'm not eating that. I had a breakfast Jack one night at 3 a.m. in college. I'm like, what the hell? Man, I'm about to eat some Jack in the Box. But like, that's how we crowd control. Like, and that's how they keep us to thinking like in the box, like explore. I'm not saying like just be this outlaw, but at least know what you know because of experience and like go see it. Like, same thing with ChatGPT. Go experience ChatGPT. And when you see it change your life, like go tell that person who's trying to tell you.
But it's just like we talked about last week. Like everybody has an audience, right? You want to keep your audience, and people throw very specific things at that.
Yep.
But what's kind of crazy now is it's like, and we can be guilty of this too and catch ourselves doing it. Like we are very headline focused. That instant fucking headline, that attention grabbing headline, and like you'll let that be fact, and like you'll take that to the grave sometimes, or some people will. But it was just like we were talking about in the very early part of this podcast about that's the same thing that happened to a lot of people, because you get that feeling or that headline grabs your attention, and then you don't do any research. You don't vet it. You don't go, just because you saw that one headline, you don't go and check other sources to see if that's even registering on the radar. Has anybody else picked this up? Is it really that big of a deal? Is this one angle, or are there other angles? Like, we don't do that. Like that to me is what's getting really scary, is we've gotten so good, and AI is getting even better at really tuning in to that I mean, like, you can literally dial it in to whatever demographic or statistic of what you're looking for and who it sells best to for whatever thing. And like, you can nail that to the cross with people a lot of times. Just the catchphrase, just the headline.
That's just scary.
And they don't take it past that. Like, nobody researches shit anymore. No. It's just like, like everything is fact or fiction, and we're going to make that determination by how warm and fuzzy it makes us feel, or how put off it makes us feel right out the gate.
Imagine if you went and started telling everybody, like, y'all heard the plague is killing people? You just 7 people a year? But you read the headline. It's a news source that you trust. Now the conversation is, and it's spreading all across North Texas, is the plague is killing people. It killed 7 people in the last year. But that's how people are. That's what we talk about, the snippets. We talk about personal brand. People love the snippets. Like, they love the 20 seconds, and they believe you are who you are off the 20 seconds. Post a Rolls Royce. That's what we're in now.
Nobody's afraid of being Chicken Little anymore, or the boy that cried wolf. It doesn't matter. No, because that is gone as fast as it came. So nobody really cares. Like, unless it's like extremely egregious, nobody cares. Unless you really harmed somebody, and even then, half the time it seems like that just goes away too. Like the attention span is so shot.
The truth doesn't sell anymore. The story sells. Like, that's what catches people. Like, you could say the wildest thing in a 20-second snippet, 1 million followers. Like, it's really mind blowing.
Well, what are your thoughts on wealth mindset? Because you came from a background where you said pretty middle class was my understanding, and like that wasn't something like this financial wealth building, legacy preservation, entrepreneurship wasn't something that like you really grew up just being in and about. How do you coach people on that, or how do you advise them about that? Because I think that's very important, because if you don't think you can do it, like, you're never going to do it, first and foremost. But like, it does take a mindset that you have some hope and faith behind, and that you're doing the right things to even put that in play.
Yeah, the mindset is everything. The company you keep is everything. I'll say that as well, because when you don't come from wealth and you have that mindset, a lot of people will think you're doing too much. You're just talking about like, hey, I just bought this book and I want to be ultra wealthy. I want to be like Elon, or I want to be like Jeff Bezos. Their mindset is, he makes so much money, he can give me $1 million right now. Nobody wants to think about working for it. Wealth takes a mindset for sure, but it takes a little bit of luck. It takes a little bit of timing. You know, a lot of people built wealth in '08. Who knew what that was going to be? A lot of millennials that are my age that are building wealth because they bought in 2020. We all know what the interest rates are right now. A lot of people don't want to move because of interest rates right now.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have that mindset, but you also have to be aware. I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to a wealth mindset. Be aware of what's going on. Be aware of the 7-8%. I've always heard this this old adage is the rich get richer. It is very true. It's true because the awareness of what's going on in the world, they capitalize on it every single time, and then they're ready. They're ready to pull the trigger. Yeah, it's 7 to 8% interest rates, but does anyone know in North Texas we've had the most price reductions in homes in like the last 3 months than across the country in North Texas? Most price reductions. What are people going to go do? Oh, there's an undervalued home, I'm going to buy it because people can't afford it at 7 to 8% interest rates. Have awareness to what's going on. Be ready to capitalize. It's okay to be uncomfortable. A lot of people don't want to operate outside of comfort. New job, don't want to do it. Hey, this opportunity is going to reduce your salary for this, but you get more time on your hands. A lot of people don't want to be uncomfortable. Embrace being uncomfortable. That's the biggest thing. I've been so okay with change throughout my life. I probably moved 6 or 7 times as a kid. I never established like childhood friends. All my friends came from high school and college. This is just normal. So I've been able to embrace that. And as I've transitioned to adulthood, being a father, now being a VP of finance, my awareness and my okay with uncomfortability has increased. Like, I'm okay with that, and I'm trying to breathe that into my family. Like, hey, it's okay to be uncomfortable. That whole fight or flight, back against the wall, but that's a mindset. A lot of people are not okay with being uncomfortable. A lot of people are not okay with starting a podcast. They don't even want to start it because it's uncomfortable. Like, hey, I got to start here, or I don't want to start being an entrepreneur because what if people don't want to buy my product? Be okay with being uncomfortable. That mindset is huge when trying to build wealth.
How do you coach some of your people and get them to look at like a safe rate of return? Like, what is your comfort level with that? Because I have a good friend that he talks about this with his ROI and everything else. Like, but what is your rate of return you're comfortable with, and like how important do you think that is within that mindset to establish that? Because, you know, let's say, you know, your savings account, you're earning 3%, like that money can just sit there.
Yeah.
But like, or you could go get a CD at, I don't know, 6-7%.
Yeah.
So now you've got this investment that comes to you, and you're deciding like, all right, I got 10 grand to park somewhere.
Yep.
Like, and that's a lot of money for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have this option where I can put it in the savings account, I'm gonna earn 3%. I can put it in the CD and earn 7%. And then I have these 2 deals that Jay brought me, and one of them I should be able to get 8x.
Yeah.
And the other one I can get 12x.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's very important in there personally to have a rate. Like, what if your comfort level is, okay, because this is a lot of money for me, I'm only willing to go 2% above a CD. So my safe rate is 9% right now.
Yeah.
So you automatically throw out that 12%, but if you don't have that, do you find that is a tool that you guys use a lot of time with setting that with your investor?
I think the comfortability comes from like your financial situation. I think people are less comfortable when they have debt, credit card debt, when they have obligations, when they're not as comfortable with their job situation. I think that breeds more anxiety than the return. So if you say, hey man, I got $10,000 to put into a deal, but I don't even have 6 months of savings, they're going to be calling and asking about that investment every 6 months. Like, hey, how's it going? Like, what's going on? Versus the guy that has $20,000 in savings and he goes to put the $10,000 up. So I think the comfortability comes from how much you're willing to risk and lose it and be okay. I would not invest anything that I am not willing to risk it all for. So my benchmark, especially when it comes to private investments that people are bringing, is in the stock market, you're supposed to double your money probably every 7 to 8 years. You should double your money, which turns around to be anywhere from, a 10 to 12%. Every about 8 years, you should double that money. So if you could tell me that, hey, I can double your money in 4, that is advantageous to me, because in the stock market, I'm going to keep on compound interest like we talked earlier. I'm going to keep on adding money into it. But if I can take $10,000 and turn it to $20,000 in 4 years, I'm more willing. But that is all going to stem from my financial situation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we could go really deep on that too, just in the the inflation and the devaluation of the dollar,
yep,
and like how you try to keep up with that over time. I don't know if that'd be of value to people right now, though. That's probably a little too far out. But what do you think maybe is the biggest difference between someone who's building lasting wealth and someone who's just trying to keep up with the financial demands of life?
The person that is trying to build lasting wealth is being very strategic. And the person that's trying to keep up with the financial demands of life, typically they're overcompensating somewhere. Most people who have, a upper level education, they have a decent job, when they find themselves struggling, that's because they're living outside of their means. And unfortunately, the American dream is to be a homeowner, is to have a nice paid off car, to have the white picket fence and the fluffy dog. You need to define what your own American dream is. You can live the American dream and have an apartment, have that fluffy dog, but not have a car payment, not have plenty of money in the savings. If something happened to mom right now, you need to walk away from your job for 6 months to take care of mom, you can do that. That is financial freedom. Most people cannot walk away from their job for 6 months. The wealthy people who are being strategic, they're okay with being uncomfortable. They're okay with, hey, I'm going to do this now for the reward later. I'm going to live like this now so I can get the reward later. That's that $1 million, that millionaire next door. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, they have had that same pickup truck, that same Toyota Tacoma, that's an 02, and they're okay with it. They're happy it runs well, but I guarantee they probably have way more money than you could ever imagine. And if they needed to walk away to take care of their parents, to me, that's FU money right there.
Yeah.
If I had to walk away right now to take care of my mom, and I didn't have to worry about my family, I'm wealthy. You have to define what your version of wealthy is. Some people's version of wealthy is going to buy a Bugatti. That's not my version, personally.
Yeah.
Some people's version of wealthy is having 10 acres of paid off land. But don't compare it to everyone else. Like, oh, that guy's wealthy. You look at Jeff Bezos and say, yeah, he's wealthy. Okay, but he might have crazy obligations and he feels stressed and he has no friends to enjoy it with. Like my version of wealth might be having a paid off patio with a fire pit, and I don't have any obligations, and my son can go to any college he chooses.
A couple bottles of Pappy sitting on the
Exactly,
side.
some Pappies, and my kid can go to any college he chooses, and he don't have to get a scholarship. Like, once you define that, then you'll be able to hone in what wealth looks like for you instead of trying to keep up with the Joneses. Like, don't look left and right. Do not look in the rear view, because you cannot look forward looking left and right or in the rear view. So I would tell people, like, that's the biggest thing. People that are wealthy define their version of wealth and what they believe that is.
I mean, yeah, and it's funny too to see that across the board, because if I think about it, and I think about the two people that I know and or have met that are the wealthiest people I know. One daily driver is a minivan. I mean, and not anything fancy.
Yeah.
And if he walked in the room, he'd probably be wearing khakis and a polo and like nothing fancy as a watch.
Yeah.
And that guy has FU money. Another one I know, big time oil and gas guy. And this guy's, I'm going to say in his late 30s, early 40s, he is still driving the same pickup truck that he drove in college.
Wow.
And I mean, like, it's different levels, but like, it's not always the flash and like, I got to show you my Ferrari or my Lambo. No, but these dudes all have multiple properties. They vacation and have complete control over their time and what they do.
Yeah.
And they're not on Facebook and Instagram and shit posting all kinds of crazy shit. They live very private lives. Mm-hmm. But even in their private life, you don't really like, it ain't about that.
Yeah.
You don't see that.
Yeah.
And that, I think, says a lot about people when they get to that mentality.
Dude, that's wealth. What wealth looks like for me is being able to take my whole family, mom, sisters, everybody. I can take them on a trip and they don't have to pay for anything.
Yeah.
That's not wealth for everybody. Wealth is, some people, wealth is Rolls Royce, but you have to define what it is to you. And then once you do that, I think that changes the game from a mindset perspective.
Right on. Well, let's say you've done that. How do you coach or advise people to stay motivated and focused on that vision or that strategy once you've got it? Because, there's a lot of distractions in life. We just talked about not looking left or right or in the rearview mirror, but there's shit being thrown at you constantly. So how do you coach, or how would you advise somebody that when they're doing the right things, they've got that plan, they've got that vision, that definition of what it is to them, how do you tell them to stay motivated, to stay on that? Because it's a long game. It's not a short game, right? Yeah,
for sure. I think you can speak to this a lot as well. Motivation fades. What trumps motivation? That is discipline.
Discipline, absolutely.
You can be motivated as hell to get in that gym. You can be like, I'm ready to go. I'm amped up. I just went and got creatine, and I went to GNC and I bought all this stuff. Second week, you're like, I don't want to go. Discipline beats motivation. It'll come back. Motivation will come back. But just keep chopping wood. Keep
grinding.
Keep grinding. Like, I love the baseball analogy. The best hitters in baseball are hitting 300, 400. And we're talking percentages in life. Hitting 40% of balls is not good. But the best ones in the history of baseball are hitting anywhere from 300 to 400. That is okay. Stay disciplined. Like, don't move the goalposts. I think that In today's society, we move the goalposts so much. We go accomplish something, we don't want to enjoy it, we don't want to celebrate it. We got to go do more. We got to go.
One day off wrecks you.
Yeah.
Like you get stuck in that one day. Like, don't let that one day where you were sick or you had it. Like, that's not the end all. Like, doesn't mean you don't just start again the next day.
Yep. 100%. And that's what's important. So if I had to tell anyone, fuck motivation. You're not going to always have it. Be disciplined and be militant about your discipline. Develop your core values and your core principles. Things that will not change and you believe in them wholeheartedly. Establish that with your family and your inner circle. And set boundaries. And that discipline will overstep motivation all the time, because motivation fades. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are Michael Jordan, Cal Ripken. I don't care if you Donald Trump. You are not always going to want to get out of bed and go do what you're called to do.
Well, I don't know if you saw it. I saw it today on ESPN. Did you see the interview with Scotty Scheffler?
About winning the Byron Nelson and then just go. Yeah, I think I saw that.
Bro, he literally, I mean, it was the most honest, like, interview I think I've seen from an athlete in a long time. Like, he literally talked about, like, winning lasts, like, that feeling, I'm over it within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, after winning. And he's been one of, like, the most winningest golfers this year. Like, he's made an insane amount of money and won so many tournaments.
Yep.
And he's like, that's not true love. That's not my true passion. Like, that's not what gets me, you know, at the end of the day.
Yep.
Like, that is huge. Like, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, that comes and goes for everybody. But, like, having that core and the discipline to stay with it is...
You got to define success, man. You know, that's why I was telling you, like, my success is to be able to enjoy it with my inner circle. I've worked very hard to be where I am and continuing to work. But if I cannot enjoy that with the people that I love, who cares about being at the top if it's lonely?
Yeah.
Like, I've heard so many people commit suicide. So many people say, I feel unfulfilled. Because you keep moving the goalposts. I got to make more money, more money, more money. What about that little cousin that comes from where you're from and they've never experienced it before? Guarantee you bringing them somewhere or putting them in a plane for the first time is way more fulfilling to you than making that next $100,000. It's way more. You just change their life forever. Everyone remembers a pivotal point in their life where someone did something for them. You're like, I'll never forget that. Never forget when a guy took me to Six Flags and I've never been. Or never forget when I got on that plane for the first time and somebody did that. I saw a basketball player made $100 million. And he was like, man, I'll never forget. I came from nothing. And this guy gave me the first $100 I ever had. This guy, he made $100 million. But he will never forget the way his life changed. He was like, we didn't even have $100. I never even seen $100. That is the fulfillment. If people chase that versus like the dollar, because the dollar amount always change. I get 10 million, man, I need 100. Get 100, I need 1 billion. You know, it's gonna always change because that's just who we are as a people. We always want more. You know, so don't move the goalposts, man. Stay disciplined.
How are you preparing, and how do you go about staying on top of what's changing in the trends? Because like we talked about a little bit with like AI and, you know, crypto and stuff like that. How do you look at those things and see those things changing over the next, 5-10 years? And what are you doing to stay on top of those things, to really stay educated and aware of those things?
Yeah, the awareness is everything. Reading, I read a lot. I try to watch unbiased news like BBC. Just the awareness of what's going on in the world is everything. A lot of people are just operating in a shell. Like, I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to do this. Or being aware of the trends, how things are going, so you don't miss opportunities is the biggest thing. And being aware and ready. I think a lot of times, dude, this guy's blowing me up. I don't know how. It's I had a guy that was trying to sell a car and a tow truck was coming. I'm gonna send him a text. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Biz,
Yes, sir.
what's the word?
How's the listeners? How's the interact? Is there a live chat on there?
Good, yeah, man. There's a live chat on here. We got old Frank. Frank's on here. My wife's on here. We got a bunch of listeners that keep popping in and out.
Everybody's viewing that's on YouTube. They're hanging on your every word. So that's great.
Yeah. You got a
really?
You got a big one here on YouTube. The weird thing about YouTube is though, like we can see a lot of people on there, but like not a lot of people comment in the YouTube forum.
So to give the YouTube people some feedback, we're processing a transaction for a guy that just signed to protect Patrick Mahomes. He signed to be one of the big linemen to protect him. So you guys can do what you wish with that information. You can figure out who that is. But I'm trying to make sure that the guy gets to him safely. We gotta make sure Patrick Mahomes is protected.
He didn't say Dak Prescott, y'all. He said Patrick Mahomes. I mean, doesn't he have Travis Kelce to watch him already?
All right.
Well, you guys, if you guys have questions on here, I mean, I want to be very respectful of Jay's time here, and we're getting very close to wrapping this up here in the next 15, 20 minutes. So if you guys have things you want me to ask Jay that you would like answered, I mean, start shooting them in, and I'll be happy to try to get to as many of them as we can. So, Jay, you've worked with so many high-profile athletes and entrepreneurs. What's the biggest thing you've learned about success that most people don't realize?
It's an audience for everything. That's what I learned. People think it won't work. Like, I like Pokemon, it won't work. I like plants, it won't work. There is an audience, especially today's day and age, there's an audience and a cult following for everything.
Yeah, like what's the unicorn potty thing that like, that's one of like the biggest things on YouTube ever.
It's crazy. Like, busy sitting here. There's an audience out there, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that I was just watching this the other day. It's a DJ on YouTube. He had 2.3 million views. Not DJing, not mixing like crazy. Playing music.
I've been people on my neck about creating a channel for the last 3 months, and my lazy ass has not done it. Well, it's not lazy. We're going to block out the time to even do that, because that takes a commitment to build that kind of following.
For sure, it definitely does. But like, just do. A lot of people won't even do it because they don't think that people will listen. Like, nobody's gonna listen to me play 2 hours of music. There is someone. It's 2.3 million people, and he's just playing like a
Easy R&B.
I've been on him for like 2 years now of, hey, create, because there's a group of us that all work out. I'm like, yo, like every so often create a new playlist that we can share on Spotify or something that we can all listen to while we work out. Like, you're always doing this stuff. Like,
man,
yo, share that.
I've had Ruben and a whole bunch of members tell me, yo, because Ruben does it. He says, here's the thing, you need to interact and just set up your equipment and just do old school mixes every day for an hour, or just do a list or whatever, watch what happens.
dude,
y'all seen the
fall in love with that.
Y'all seen the guy that made AI program a band basically, like, and it's known, I forget what it's called or I would share it, but like, and I think it's on Spotify or whatever, but like has created a band that it's literally AI. And if I picked like 3 modern bands that are real bands and mix this one in there, I guarantee you couldn't tell that that was an AI band. And it's already put out like 3 full albums in like 30 days.
That's crazy.
It's got multi-millions of followers already, and everybody knows this is like you're never gonna go see them perform live.
Yeah,
like you can just listen to the music, but like this is music created by AI.
Dude, it's crazy. So I said all that to say the most wealthy guy that I've ever met, and you asking me what is something that I found. The most wealthy guy that I ever met, he made plant liners. So whenever you buy a new plant, there's a plastic that goes around the plant that it comes in like a little pot. He makes all the plant liners for Walmart, Callaway, and he's made billions of dollars making plant liners. There's an audience for everyone. And then the second wealthiest guy that I've ever met, he makes buttons. He makes all the buttons for Levi. Levi doesn't just make the shirts and the jeans. They have buttons that go on them. Well, they don't make the buttons. They outsource that. Second wealthiest guy I ever know, makes all the buttons for some of the biggest manufacturing brands in the world.
And there's probably a guy that does that and makes zippers.
Exactly.
And all he does is sell zippers to everybody.
Bumpers. But there's another guy that makes bumpers for Ford. Ford does not make the bumper. They put them together, but they outsource it. They're piecing this car together. There is an audience for all of us. There's an audience for guys that like baseball hats. I'm not even exaggerating. There is a guy that collects baseball hats, and there's tons of other guys that do it. And hey, this is 1993 World Series New York Yankees hat, and then I got the Seattle Mariners, the first one King Griffey used to wear.
Just like shoes.
And he's monetizing it. There's something for everyone. Embrace your superpower. You have to. That's the one thing that I have learned. Like I always thought, like, oh, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. There ain't enough people that like that. It is. I'm telling you. Like, embrace that.
How do you think people figure out what their superpower is?
I mean, it just comes down to everybody realizes, like, there's something that you like more than everybody else, or there's something that you're better than, just naturally, than everybody else. A lot of people equate it to athletics. Hey, man, I could just go and pick up any ball. I'm okay. I can do anything with it. Or, hey, when it comes to rocks, I know every rock formation. And that's your superpower. Embrace it. To other people, it might be weird, but the 2.3 million people across the country or the world think it's cool as hell, and you embraced it, and they were scared to. That is like when I look at streamers now, and I see streamers are making more than athletes. Streamers are making more than your favorite artist. That's because they have some of these streamers. We're talking about YouTube right now. Yeah. Some of these streamers, every time they turn on the camera and they press the record button, they got 65,000 people watching them. They can sell out any arena you can near you right now. What rapper can do that? What country singer can do that? Sell out a $65,000 or $65,000 capacity arena every time they go hit the stage. These are streamers that are regular people like you and me. Like, you gotta embrace that. Like, you gotta embrace the weird or whatever you think your superpower is. Have to.
Can I sit in on the meeting when you pitch this to Mike and tell him that you're bringing in a streamer?
Oh, yeah. I
want to be there for that one. I just want to see the look on his face.
When he looks at those numbers, he's gonna be like, you might be on to something. Like, this guy
I fully believe you would get there. I just want to be there when you pitch it for the first time just to see the look on his face.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, get out of here. I'm like, wait, look at this. Look at this.
Yeah. I'm telling you, this is the real deal.
Trust me.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So looking back so far over your career to this point, what do you wish you knew earlier in your journey about building wealth and investing?
That's a good question. What do I wish I knew earlier? Take your time. I was very much so in a rush. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to make six figures. I want to make $1 million. I want to do this. I want to do that. Take your time, and don't, like we were saying earlier, don't lean on motivation. I was motivated by that. I was motivated by the success. And a lot of times the motivation will wear off. Take my time, continue to get at-bats. Get at-bats. Continue to practice that. If I would have learned that earlier, I think, a lot of people say, man, you're young. You're way wise beyond your years. But there's all these things I could have done better. And I think that would have been it. Don't take a shortcut to success. Don't try to fast track it. Embrace every experience. Learn from it. Sometimes I would fail and just get past it, try to correct it, instead of taking a lesson out of it. Now I take every lesson, every single lesson.
No, that resonates real strong with me because, I've thought about almost doing a whole show on this for people at times because, when you're younger, you have that passion or the vision for something, or maybe it's just like that gut feeling like I could be doing more, I could be doing better. Why haven't I found or figured out that thing yet? But you're go-getter, man, and you're going after whatever it is you're doing at that time. And there's times you feel like it's just never gonna come.
Yep.
And to take that look or that passion and then the discipline behind that to just keep going, to keep working, and to have the faith and the hope still that you're gonna find that.
Yep.
Or and people put out the words purpose and passion real loosely, and that it has to be this really defined thing, that you lose sight of the journey in that, and that's still even really hard to say or to put to words because I could probably say I still don't feel like I'm completely there yet, but that's life.
Yeah.
But you're so, because someone else figured it out faster, or this person is 3 steps ahead of you, or you've fallen back 3 times, but you're still fighting, or you're still trying to figure things out. You can get so caught up in that you don't fully learn those lessons, or it takes you even longer. But just to have that discipline and presence of mind throughout that journey, I think is so important. And you just really hit all that.
Yeah. I think you said something powerful. What I have learned over the time is to fall in love with the journey. Fall in love with it. I think all of us in here right now can say the best times I ever had in life was when I was trying to figure it out. The success is awesome. That's cool. But the journey, the path to get there, the stopping on the side of the road, flat tire, pouring water into your car to not let it overheat, those were the times. You
didn't think it then.
You did.
But those are the stories you still tell now.
Yeah, man. Because when you get to the other side of it, and it's what's next? You go back on another journey. And the journey to get there, if you don't embrace it and learn from it, it doesn't ever turn into fulfillment.
That, or we're just getting real damn old.
Yeah.
We're telling the old men stories now.
True. Honestly, you getting old, but
it's hard to have that perspective. I mean, especially in your 20s and stuff like that.
For sure.
Because you feel the rat race.
Yep.
And you do want to have these things, and you don't know when they're going to come or if you're ever going to get there.
Yep.
And even if you're still not there yet, but it's every little bit older you get, you start seeing it and start putting more of the things together. And yeah, you're looking back like those are definitely the things that you remember, like, oh man, the time I slept on the couch for a week straight while I was busting out this project. Man. And then I lost the project. Like, we didn't even win that one,
yep.
You know?
The moving, hey man, I remember I took a chance and, you know, I remember hearing Busy, so I took a chance and moved from Omaha to Dallas. And like, that's the moment. Like, those are the moments. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. But like, it was worth it, and it changed my life forever. Like that, looking back on those things, pull the trigger. You live one, like, use wisdom. Like, don't just YOLO everything. Like, yeah, use wisdom, but embrace it, because it's so much joy in the failure, and success is so short term. The dopamine hit of success is so short term. Like, holding that trophy on the podium is so short term. But the grind, like Scotty was saying, the practice, the sleepless nights, the back pain, that is the triumph. That's the trophy.
All right, if you could have been in any other profession and you can't use basketball, then what you do now, what would it be and why?
What would it be? I think that if I could do something outside of what I'm doing now, outside of basketball, I would probably be some type of motivational speaker.
I can see that.
I think I would fall in love with, you know, giving people hope, changing perspectives, being able to go into work settings, being able to go to a hospital, being able to go into elderly homes or whatever the case may be, and give people perspective. I think I would become a motivational speaker if I
was that always easy for you? Because you speak on a lot of big stages and stuff now, and in front of some really like big audiences, and you know, top-notch elite business and athletes and everything else. Like, was that always something that came natural or easy, or is that something you really had to work at?
I was always the funny guy. I was always the guy that just makes somebody laugh. I want to make you feel warm about yourself. And, you know, most of those people are suffering inside, you know. But that was easy. The laughing, like the laughter, the comedy out of it. It was not always easy to be able to like speak, and I failed a lot. And I look back on some of my past speaking engagements from years ago, like, could have been a lot better to where I am now. So it wasn't always easy to get up on a stage, but I knew I could always lean into, like, I could make somebody laugh really quick, you know, if I needed to. So, no, it wasn't easy. It was definitely trial by error. And people that have the gift of gab tend to think they don't need to prepare. Like, when you can talk to anyone.
That was the biggest mistake I made.
Yes, it's huge. When you have the ability to talk to anyone, you think you don't need to prepare. And then you go look like a damn fool when they ask you certain questions. So I've been through that mistake, and it's allowed me to learn from it and grow. So
yeah, that caused me to go on a whole learning how to be a professional speaker journey outside of that, because I totally went into an engagement. I won't dive into it. I've talked about too many times on here of, you know, thinking because I have a podcast and I do all this and that I could just go out there, but then got me in front of my industry people and everything else, and I bombed.
Man,
so embarrassing, so brutal.
I've been there.
I think the funny one though is like seeing you, like, what caught my attention and cracked me up is like when you were, I think it was the NASDAQ one where you were on TV, and that video that's out there. It's like seeing super serious Jay.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's another level. Like, he was really intense. I don't know if he was nervous or what, because like he was intense, and I wasn't used to seeing that side of you. Because you know, when I see you, we're usually up here at the lounge, cutting up, having a cigar, having a drink.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was I'm all, whenever I do a speaking engagement, I'm always nervous. That never goes away. I get the butterflies just like it's the first time.
Yeah.
But when I was telling you, repetition kills doubt.
And preparation.
Preparation as well. Like, I'm prepared, I feel comfortable, but it doesn't take the nerves away. I've learned to not try to lean on my ability to be able to talk to anyone. Like, you gotta prepare. Yeah, that's the thing.
What's the most unexpected thing that you've learned in your profession from working with the athletes and everything else? Like, what was maybe the most unexpected thing?
They expect you to be ready at all times. I'm like, 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 7 p.m., 6 a.m. Because I come from a world of working with just wealthy people and high net worth people. Athletes' lives don't stop, whether they're out, partying or family, hits. That was probably the most unexpected. I'm like, dude, I'm in the bed. I'm one of those guys. I'm in the bed by 10:30, like maybe earlier.
Yeah.
Like, phone is buzzing at 3 a.m. What the heck is going on? Like, and I sleep light, so that's probably that's the biggest. I've had several calls, 3, 4, 4:30 in the morning. Need help with this. I'm in trouble with this. Stuff that I'll probably never disclose. But that was that has been a biggest unexpected turn for me.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be a guy that a lot of people define their legacy through their family and their kids. And I want my legacy to be a servant leader. I don't want to be the guy that always barked orders. I want to be the guy that always provided wisdom, always was willing to do the things that I asked of other people. I always led by example. Like, hey, Jay's giving back to the community. I want to follow him to give back to the community, not because Jay told me to go give back to the community, because he's the leader. I want to be a servant leader. I want to be a vessel, a way out to the people that come from the community I come from. I want to be able to provide opportunities to the people that are underprivileged, underserved, that didn't know how to write that check in college, just like me. I think that's what I want my legacy to be, to always be the guy that was there for somebody.
Right on, man. What's one daily habit that you think's been most impactful for you?
Working out. Working out sets the tone for me. I feel different when I don't work out.
I'm right there with you.
I don't care if it's a 20-minute workout. I don't care if it's a 45 hour workout. I feel completely different when I don't wake up in the morning and do some type of physical activity, because I typically wake up way before my workday starts, which then allows me to work out, but it also allows me to sit and think. So being able to work out, and I think second is waking up early enough to write out my day. Like, okay, this is what my day is going to look like. This is what I have to get accomplished today. Because that discipline thing, like just being able to do that time and time again has been able to change a lot for me from a success standpoint.
What book has been like the most influential for you? Like what's maybe your like top 1 or 2 books?
2 books. Number one,
you said the E-Myth earlier, so
E-Myth is up there. I would say Who Not How.
Who Not How.
Who is that book by? Dan Sullivan, I think. Dan Sullivan. It's called Who Not How. And that book talks about in life, even in grade school, middle school, elementary school, or high school, we try to figure out the how. That we always tell our kids, don't collaborate. You got to figure it out. Hey, don't try to look on that person's paper or do this. And we're constantly in this rat race of trying to figure out how are we going to get something done. And the book talks about you can be 10 steps ahead if you figured out who. because somebody is passionate about what you need to get done, and they have the skill set for what you need to get done, and you are going to either you're going to stall yourself out trying to figure out how, or you're going to make it way longer than it needs to be. And if you just figure out who, that will jet set your success way faster. That is the best book, one of the best books I've read. And then the second book probably would be The Psychology of Money. Talks about a lot of the things that we talked about today. It talks about having a little bit of luck. It talks about the guy that founded Microsoft, Bill Gates, and he had a partner initially, and they had the only computer in like the northwestern region in their high school, and his co-founder ended up dying because he fell off a mountain or something like that. A little bit of luck. Not saying like I feel bad that he died, but it talks about how you think about money. Talks about guys in the locker room with the disparity in pay and thinking about proximity. Psychology of Money is a big one for me. So those are the two books.
Awesome. All right, man. We've gone way, way over now. So I want to wrap this up with you. We got two things we do at the end of the show. But, dude, thank you so much for coming and sitting down and sharing your time with us. I know you're a very busy individual.
For sure.
I really appreciate you taking time away from your family and work to come sit down with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been real refreshing, a good conversation. For
right on, man. I appreciate that. So we like to ask everybody, we have two little segments we do at the end of every show. So the first one, if you got to leave your son with one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Whew. One piece of advice. I would tell him, focus on being a good person. Being a good person will give you way farther in life, in my opinion, than chasing goals, chasing dreams, all of that. Focus on just being a good man and being a good human being. That you will reap what you sow, and I think there's a lot of benefit in just being a good person.
I like that, man. I think the whole world could use a lot more of just treating each and every person like a human being, instead of whatever label or box or left or right or all this other shit just to create diversity and animosity and everything else that they do in the world today. Like, I really hope that someday soon we can get back to really treating each other just as human beings.
For sure.
Because everybody really is working towards the same things.
Exactly.
And we all want the same things. I mean, if we could put that lens a little more out there, I think that would be a great place to be.
Yeah, agreed, man. I think it's huge. I mean, you got red blood rolling through your body. I don't care what party, what creed, whatever. Just being a good person, like the floods in Texas.
Man.
Just be a good person, man. At the end of the day, I am a type of person, I love my brother. Whoever it is, whatever creed. I'm not going to try to force you to be whatever religion I identify or political party. You are a person at the end of the day. And we all struggle with something, whether we're hiding it or it's evident. You know?
Absolutely, man. Well, the next one's fun. I'm looking forward to see where you go with this. Because the show's called Common Sense, we like to do a little segment at the end called Give Us Your 2 cents.
Okay.
So it can be something I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about. It could just be what you want to leave the audience with, or just something that's on your mind. It's like the mic's yours. Like, this is Jay gets to say whatever the hell Jay wants to say.
God, man. You could have let me prepare for this a little bit.
What? That's not as good, man.
That's true.
Because then people prepare for these things, and then when they get off track, because I asked them a question, if I told you all the questions, the minute they mess up, they're ruined. I can't like bring them back.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they rehearsed whatever, and then they're a train wreck after they mess it up.
Common sense. What do I? I don't know, man. That's a hard one. I don't think about that. I guess one thing that I hate in this world that I could talk about forever is big pharma. I don't understand why we pay all this money for health care and you still end up having to pay more money for it. Like, you pay $500 a month for your family, and then you have a $2,000 bill. I took my son to the doctor one time, like ER. We didn't even get treatment. I thought his arm was broke. It is like, wasn't even broken. Like, we sat in the ER for 3 hours waiting. They gave him some Tylenol. When we get back in the room, he grabs a chair and he's swinging from it. I'm like, what the hell? You just are acting like my bill was $2,000. I have insurance. Full coverage insurance. I don't understand Big Pharma. I could talk about that for days.
Yeah.
It pisses me off.
I don't understand how we have all these medicines, but if it really was the answer or the cure, why do they have to be refilled all the time?
Yeah, wait. I don't understand why there's commercials for medicine. Hey, go get this Govid medicine. It's gonna help you out. When did we have to start advertising medicine? Like, what
about the 7,000 side effects that they go through real fast?
Like the micro machine man at the bottom.
This is going to solve this, but in lieu of that, your guts are going to fall out, your eyeballs are going to turn pink, and your feet may go left and right. But this problem won't be a problem.
Exactly. Are you going through severe plaque psoriasis? Go to your doctor, right? Like, when did you recruit me for this medicine? Like I said, I could talk about Big Pharma forever.
Yeah, man.
But that's probably my comment.
Well, man, thank you so much for coming and sit down with us. I hope you'll join us again sometime down the road, because I know you and I could do this for hours and hours and just talk about whatever.
For sure.
I really appreciate you coming out, man.
No, thank you. I'm honored. I appreciate the platform. This has been awesome. I appreciate the stick too. Those who don't know, it got me an Atabay, top notch.
Yeah,
top-notch stick.
We didn't do what we're drinking. So real quick, as we wrap this up, we're all smoking the Atabay Black Ritos. Y'all have heard me talk about this before. It's probably one of the most rare Atabays you can get. And it's also, I mean, aside from this new Nelson's personal cigar, he released a very, very limited number of. But that's what we're smoking tonight. We've been smoking the Black Ritos. I'm not leaving this, y'all. Like, I do plan on finishing this. But,
this is getting finished.
And Jay was nice enough to like share out of his locker some of his Eagle Rare. So we've been drinking the Eagle Rare, and I had a little Cuban coffee because today kind of kicked my ass.
Hey, same.
But I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. I hope you gained something valuable from this episode, and we'll see you again next week. Peace.